Hello, and welcome to the next episode of the Live Your Spa Life show. Spa Life is a lifestyle that accepts that accomplishment and harmony coexist. The Spa and Spa Life, the SPA, is for seek power always. That power within you to live your life with your intentions of why you are here. I am so thrilled to introduce my special guest today. You heard it right. For those of you who aren't watching but are listening, I've got two dynamo women here with us. We've got Dominique Pacheco and Rose Macias, and they are disruptors in the financial institution. And they are here to really shift how women are perceiving finances, how they're going for financial freedom, and what that is looking like. So ladies, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Good to have you
here. Thank you for having us. Yes.
My pleasure. My pleasure. So I'm going to kind of bounce back and forth here because I know our listeners are going to want to see like how you guys teamed up together, what this actually looks like. We've got Dominique, who is representing the baby boomers and has been established in so many different ways. In fact, she talks about this being her third career. I'm going to have you talk about those different careers and what led them to you being here today. And then with Rose, she is representing the millennials and a whole different fresh approach of having young women look at their finances earlier in life and really taking the life experience of both of these women to really set a foundation in the financial world. So I love what you guys are up to, and I really want to start here with Dominique, with this being considered your third career. You've been, an art consultant, you've been in video production, and now financial services. What has had you bounce to those different things, and how is what you've learned from those different things really set the foundation for where you are now?
I thank you very much for having us, first of all. It's lovely to see you again. Mm-hmm. And I love the quote that Steve Jobs said at his Stanford commencement speech, that you can only connect the dots looking backwards. Yeah. And I think that at this point in my life, that's exactly where I am right now, is connecting all of the dots. Because sometimes coming along in your life, you don't always know why you're doing what you're doing. Sometimes you're called for passion, sometimes you're called for money, sometimes you're called for helping people. Everybody has a different road to walk on. And I think that when I was in the art business, which is where I started after college, I was chasing creativity, chasing passion, and chasing a kind of an internal desire to understand beauty and understand somebody's motivation to create. And I did a lot of that. I spent a lot of time with artists. I spent a lot of time with amazing people. And I had great clients. I was working with Steve Jobs then, and I worked on Oracle's art program for 8 years. And then my daughter was born, and I was traveling, and I really had to shift my focus to raising her. And this little thing called the internet was starting up, and I thought, well, let's see what happens over here. And I got involved in early internet marketing, early internet advertising, video production, distribution. And when social media came along, I really understood the power of distributing through social media. And here we are today on a podcast. And I'm in Hawaii doing some business and being in Hawaii. And I'm able to talk to you via something that we could only think about even as short a time ago as 15 years ago. And so it's really exciting now to be in this space. And when I got into financial services and financial education, it really brought everything together for me. It brought a fresh approach to distribution and marketing, a very serious, cause, helping people with their life's savings and sometimes learning to save at all. And also the crusade of really teaching people what everybody needs to know, which is their financial independence number and what it takes to actually not outlive your money. So it became a very obvious choice for me, especially when I got to partner with somebody like Rose, who is also extremely creative and really sees vision, which really excited me.
Right. Absolutely. Well, that leads us over here to Rose. I mean, you are so passionate around, I love seeing the two of you together on stage because you really feed, the different mindset of women and where they're coming from and where they are in their path. And, Rose, I love that you are all about financial literacy, that, we aren't taught this in school. We've talked about this, about how, how can such a fundamental thing about our money not be a conversation, and that you are really on the forefront of having it be a discussion and to really see like where you are and what's happening. What fueled this for you?
I think everybody has their own relationship with money. And again, thanks for letting us jump on this call with you, Miss Diane. It's an honor. And I think everybody has their own relationship with money. Mine just happened to come a little bit earlier in life, being that I was the child kind of seeing my family fight about money, to not having it, to getting layoffs, illness, cutbacks, to divorce, and all those type of financial burdens that have nothing to do with a market crash or, how fast your accounts are growing. Everything that happened to my family had to do with the unforeseen circumstances that no financial advisor is really adding to a financial portfolio. So to be able to connect with families on, not only did they not teach us about money in school, but they didn't teach me how expensive my father's medical bills were going to be, or if mom's medical bills were going to be, or, the future medical bills for our family. Just those alone can really take and drain someone's retirement. I also didn't come from a family of people who taught me how to be entrepreneurial or taught me how to hit, max out on a glass ceiling and not ever settle. I had to learn how to think that way. And I do believe that our school system limits the way our children think on how to save, on how to create, on how to, build residual income and never let inflation, catch up to us. I think there's a lot to learn. And I think everybody, going through the financial burdens of the illness and the death and the market crash and all of that early, being aware of it early at a young age, I thank my parents for letting me get involved and being able to help at 15 with stuff, right. Because a lot of families don't allow their kids to get involved, and they say it's grown-up talk, and I think that needs to change. We do believe that we can change the way our school systems teach financial literacy, and it starts with one family at a time.
Right. Oh, definitely. And, when we start looking about just being part of the conversation, because there are so many families that don't talk about the finances. And so when you start introducing that in and you start having some of that conversation, then you know where you're at and where you can go from there. Now, you had mentioned that, before 15, that wasn't really a conversation that was being had. You weren't taught some of these things. Did you have a mentor? Was there something in school? What was it that triggered you to start, really starting to build your own financial literacy?
I think for me, I mean, even at school, I'd take the money my mom would give me and I'd turn it around and somehow double it so that I could, eat somewhere different after school that I actually liked to eat. So I've always been someone who was interested in finding a better way, a better quality of life. I think even at a young age, I remember telling my mom, that, we could save a certain amount of money to eat that at the nicer restaurant, and we could sacrifice for the whole month and things like that I was already doing at a young age. That in finance, now that we're sitting in budgeting and looking at people's relationship with money, I would see my father get a paycheck and then blow it every week. It was never something that he savored, and he never taught me how to turn 10,000 into $500,000 over time. And so the financial literacy didn't come until I got into finance, until I had a platform that took me step by step and gave me financial literacy. And to be honest with you, nobody was knocking at my door at 25 years old, even though I was making, semi-decent money as a fine dining server and real estate agent. I still, even though I was making more than the teacher career that I wanted to be originally, even though I was making more than I would have been as a coach, I still knew that there was so much more to learn about being wealthy in our country, having freedom, financial freedom. I remember calculating how much it was for everything to live in life and going, well, how can I ever live off a teacher's salary? And as a young little girl going, I don't understand how this even makes sense. Right. So for me, it was calculating how much school costs, what I was going to get paid, how women got paid a little bit less, and it's still like that today in corporate America. And I just decided that I wasn't going to settle. So I just went entrepreneur. I knew that Rihanna had multiple streams of income and I could be like her without singing or dancing. I just had to figure it out. And so when I got into real estate, I thought that was going to be a niche, and it turned into me being exposed to the way to communicate to people and present to myself as someone that was looking for opportunity, and it led me to getting an opportunity to get trained personally by a broker in the financial firm. And he was from the Caribbean. This cool way of communicating, where someone who's young could actually feel okay with going, look, I'm new, I don't know this much, but I'm hungry, I want to learn, and I'm willing to get licensed and be, someone that's really educated in this industry. And because of that, that's when my life started to turn around about financial literacy. But that's also our crusade. Most people never get that opportunity to walk into a firm and get helped. Usually, they get turned away.
Right, right. So then what led to the two of you deciding to, link arms together and to walk this path together?
Polka dots.
I was at a marketing event, and I was actually there to meet somebody who wanted to hire me for a consulting job. And I was standing in this meeting holding a cocktail, and I was wearing a black and white polka dot jacket. And Rose walked right up to me and said, were you aware that the Chinese consider polka dots to be a sign of wealth in China? And I said, no. Who are you? Who's ever heard that?
And for those who are just listening and not watching, Rose is wearing polka dots.
she loves polka dots. So we immediately connected, and I asked her who she was, and she said, I do financial education for women and children. And immediately, it was so odd in retrospect. Once again, connecting the dots, right? When you look backwards, connecting the polka dots when you look backwards. I said, would you come to my house and talk to my daughter, who was 20 at the time? And she said, yes. Where do you live? And I said, Palos Verdes Estates. And she said, oh, I'd love to retire there. And I said, well, come to my house and see. What I did not know, we were in Beverly Hills at the time, what I did not know was that Rose lived in Ontario. And when I asked her where she lived, she said, Ontario. I was pretty new to Los Angeles, and I said, is that in Canada? I had no idea where Ontario was. Yeah. And for those who don't know, it's not close to where I live. But Rose came to my house 4 different times. She came to educate my daughter, who wasn't that interested in learning about financial education, but I was. And I had a lot of information in the past about financial services, and I had a portfolio, and I thought I knew a lot. And here was this, 20-something teaching me things that I'd never heard about, and opportunities to be in tax-free savings that I'd not known about, and the ability to not lose in the market, which I did in 2000 and 2008. And I was intrigued. And then she actually asked me if I was interested in coming on board with her in the business. And of course I said no, because I didn't see myself that way. I saw myself as a creative. But the more I thought about it, and the more I realized the opportunity inside of this opportunity, I could see that the two of us, first of all, could work very well together. And secondly, that there was an opportunity to help a lot of people and really build something substantial here. And that has proved to be true. So I'm really glad that we did connect that night.
Nice, nice. Well, it's so great when we start looking at, if we look at both of your path, I mean, a lot of people live their life by default where they just let things happen, and you guys are designing your life, not only for yourself, but for your clients. And it's so important to look at this not only in business, but also in your life. So what are some of the ways that both of you ladies are designing your life and that you're being intentional?
You want to go first, Rose?
Okay, Dominique. I think what we have designed specifically between me and Dominique, our mindset, even when we wake up, is ready. We have a morning motivational call Monday through Friday, 6:45 to 7 a.m. just to wake us up in the right mindset. I think we've also gotten to a point where we're reading our clear defined plans every day, day and night, where we know exactly where our goals are, whether it be this quarter, this year, or 5 years from now. And I think it's very important to be aligned with your partners when that happens, and also have a plan that excites the heck out of you. When we read our plans, we're excited, we're passionate, we're almost emotional about the goals that we're going to accomplish. It's funny because we have a partner in our firm together that we have the business plan. 3 of us have our business plans, and it means together we put them all together because the main topic of our business plans actually merged very well. And one of them is enjoying the process. That was her business plan name. And Dominique's was eating the elephant in the room one bite at a time. And then mine business plan this year was the year of the inevitable explosion. So as a team, we read each other's business plans and then we sync them together. So it was pretty interesting. It turned into, enjoying the process while eating the elephant one bite at a time during our inevitable explosion, which is kind of cool because we're being aware that there's a process, we're being aware that we have to enjoy it, being aware that there's always going to be an elephant in the room, and money's usually the biggest elephant to talk about. And at the same time, we're aware that our explosion is coming in business because we've been doing these rapid, everyday planting the seeds of families over so many years will lead into eventually a lot of families being helped. And we know that there's a huge change right now in the women in the financial world where, last year women were only 18% of the financial advisory firm, but we helped 38% of the families and the production last year in the financial industry, which means we're the smallest army right now, but we're helping the most families. So I think right now in my life, I'm really clear on what is. I'm really clear on that I'm supposed to help my family. I'm really excited every day about what we're doing. I think once you find your passion and your pay in the same career, that's when you found your career. You should never settle between pay or passion. Some people go to work, they get paid very well, but they hate what they do. Or women go to work, they don't get paid very well, but they love what they do and they love the people they work with. I am a true conviction that you can have both. And I think that me and Dominique have created not only a work lifestyle that we love showing up to, but it is a entrepreneur 16-hour grind work style that we love working with together. And we still have our family life and, down in Hawaii and all those things too. So we're still very in tune with our personal life, but also know our goals and find something that excites you to talk about.
Right.
I mean, that definitely keeps you going.
Right. And this is so important. Just one of the things I'm hearing you're talking about is community. Like, the environments that we create, the people that we connect with are so important to our success because, if you had a bunch of people in your circle who are telling you like, who are you to be doing that? What do you think you're doing? I mean, people who have, sometimes that's just our own minds that say that, but the fact that you guys have created a structure to, set the mindset in the beginning, to really start looking at what are we doing together, supporting each other's vision and getting excited. I mean, so many times people will start with saying, okay, I want to do this, but then they don't have the daily commitments that, really keep it forefront and keep it, on fire for both of you. And with that being said, I know, Dominique, you've mentioned about one of the things that you do to design is keeping promises to yourself. And I'd love for you to elaborate a little bit about this because one of the things that I know is that when we don't keep promises to ourselves, it starts eroding our thoughts. It starts eroding how we're showing up in life. And that's where hesitation and procrastination, it's almost like the tip of the ball that when we don't honor ourselves of how that happens. So can you talk a little bit about how that came up, that is a tenet for you and how you incorporate that in your life?
Thank you for asking me about that. I think that if you don't keep promises to yourself, you continue to go down a path of, it's the path of least resistance, right? When you say, all right, I'm going to get up every day. I get up every day at 5:45. And from 5:45 to 6:30, I meditate. I'm very intentional about what I do in that space. I actually wish I could wake up a little earlier, but I go to bed too late to make it work for me. So I really spend that time alone, and I really spend that time in intention. That is a promise that I've been keeping to myself for a while, and it has really changed me faster than anything that I've ever done, because I've been consistent with it, and as I said, I'm extremely intentional. The other promises that I think that we keep are to maintain a certain intensity. Like, I'm around a lot of people who are very, very young in their lives and young in their careers, and I love it. I love being around people with a lot of energy who are ambitious and driven, and they're like that, because you can't make somebody like that.
Right.
And so I love being around that energy. I, at this point in my life, know what to do with that energy, meaning that I don't need to be very out and crazy with my energy like I was when I was Rose's age. I was very much like Rose when I was her age, and so for me, it's a wonderful thing to be around, because I can sort of direct myself within that. That's one of my intentions, is to be constantly moving, constantly growing, constantly learning, because if you don't, you stop and you're dead.
Right.
And you may not be physically dead, but your spirit starts to chip away, and you watch it. You watch people. We're probably close in age, Dan. You watch people our age, and what changes their vitality is that they have nothing more to do. They've done their thing. They've been there. They've done that. They have the T-shirt, and that's all they care about.
Right.
For me, I'll never have enough T-shirts. And it doesn't have to do with acquiring things. It has to do with being somebody who's constantly inquisitive and constantly, I just love to learn. Yeah. And I love to be around people who offer me that opportunity. And that's really what we're doing. We're really around all kinds of different people all the time, every day, learning new things. It's really, I love it. I love it.
Well, it's so important to, know where your juice comes from, and to know that where we are having our influence. So I totally agree with you. I'm a grandmother of 4, and one of the things that was so cool is I had written, it was in part of my marketing, but it was also part of a message I had put out there, was that stop looking for power outside of yourself, that you are your own power. Absolutely. And I had my granddaughter, who is 11, who sent me a message, and she just said, "Hey, Gma, I'm going to use one of your quotes for my school project." And then when I asked her which one, she said she chose that one. And I thought, how amazing for her age to start recognizing that she is her own power. And this is where it's so great. This is why I love the intergenerational working together, because we all bring something to the table as far as who's bringing what energy, who's bringing experience, how do those things meld together? And it goes back and forth, And so it's so important that, to me, that is part of what fuels what's happening, is the impact that we're having in the work that we're doing. And I know as part of designing, for you, Rose, you talk about having daily affirmations, day and night. What are some of your favorite affirmations? No, we might have gotten a little bit of frozen here. Okay, I'm going to circle back around and ask her that when she comes back in. So while we're waiting for that, Dominique, you talked about your superpower. What is your superpower?
If you had asked me what my superpower was at another point in my life, the answer would be different. But I think that now my superpower is helping as many people as fast as I can. I think that learning that the more people you help, the better your life is, has been a phenomenally powerful thing for me. And that's all I want to do now. All I want to do is help other people. All I want to do is as much as I can for others. And when I really made that shift over, life just literally flowed. And I'm just, that's the superpower, I think.
I love that so much. It's good. I like it. Let's see. I'm going to unlock this so that in case she's able to jump back in. But I wanted to say here too is that there are different times where we feel empowered versus disempowered. How do you move in between the disempowering moments to come out and feel more empowered?
I think that is a life skill that is absolutely essential. I think that the biggest thing is, there's a great book by Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. And one of the things that he talks about is a mind sealed tight against negativity. And when I first read the book and I first thought about that, I really didn't understand it. It seemed very rigid and limiting to me in some ways. But now what it is actually having your intention set towards a positive lifestyle, towards a positive mindset, towards positive thinking, which means that you have to really pay attention to what it is that you're taking in and how that process then presents itself through your communication and your speaking. And so I think that that's the number one thing, is actually getting your mind right. And by right, that's a very personal choice. We all get to choose what's right for us.
Right.
I know that for me personally, I am a much better, much healthier, much more interesting person when I'm interested, and when I'm interested in the things that actually fulfill me and make me happy. And when I concentrate on that, I can give that back. And the more you give, the more you get of what you put out. So that's my, I work on that. And sometimes it's minute by minute,
Definitely. Perfect. Well, I want to circle back around here with Rose as far as what are some of your favorite affirmations?
Ooh, there's a lot of them. I actually got hypnotized once in my life at a big conference, and I was really angry about it. And I went through hypnosis, I believe it's called, when you're like in the middle of being hypnotized, but you're not. So I was more of an anger state that I wasn't getting hypnotized, but then I kind of was allowing him to. So it was mentally messing me up that I had control, but then I didn't have control. And because of that, I got really nauseated, but it actually turned me into having these affirmations that turned into I have no option affirmations. So I have no option to cry because I have every reason to be happy. I have no option to be greedy because I have every reason to give. I have no option to procrastinate because I have every reason to be prepared. I have no option to be late because I have every reason to be on time. I have no option to it can literally be anything that is a bad that happens. You can give it a reverse positive. I have no option to settle because I have one life to live. So it always turns into like the fact that I know that we go through our daily doubts. So there's plenty of times where I'm fearful, I'm running late, I'm thinking about procrastinating, I'm thinking about all those negative words first. But because I come in and I do a positive, it allows me to transition. But that was when I was going through saying my affirmations, and it was hard for me to believe it. So I started with those ones. And then now it's, I'm $1 million earner at 30 years old. I'm a $1 million passive earner at 30 years old. I'm a executive vice chairman in my firm in the year of 2022. It's already done, and my affirmations are already done. I retired my mom. I bought my dad a boat. I was the first billionaire in my family. I built a global wide business that helped women all over the country build entrepreneur businesses all over the world. Those are the affirmations that I say now. But in the beginning, it was kind of hard teaching your body to say something that wasn't necessarily true. So that I have no option. They're true yet, right? So I had no option allowed me to go through the process of, oh my God, I feel like procrastinating right now. I have no option to procrastinate because I have every reason to be prepared. So you have like this,
so you have a response to any of the negativity that comes up.
Immediately. So it was like a hypnosis for me. And I was hypnotizing my mind that when I felt fear, I was like, oh, fear, brave. Oh, be late. Oh, nope, I have no option. Nope. It would just constantly. And then I'd have text me. Like, let's say they were running. I had an associate running late for a meeting once. And he's like, I have no option to be late, but I have every reason to not give you an excuse either. So it was like people are recognizing that they don't have an option to be fearful, but yet I have every reason to be brave. I have every reason to be happy. I have I have no option to doubt because I have every reason to believe. I mean, everything that I'm doing is what I'm supposed to be doing every day, right? To be on my goals. So there's no place but to believe.
Yeah, I love this. And what's so great for our listeners is that when we all have certain things that'll pop in our head, right? Thoughts are thoughts. You know, we're not our thoughts. They just appear. But when you have a plan, like I love that you've got a game plan for those thoughts where you look at what's the opposite. And, you know, for those of you who are maybe listening and not watching this, Rose wasn't reading off of something. This is like embedded in her because this is a consistent habit that she has. And so they fly off of her right away. This is something that both Dominique and Rose have cultivated is what is the environment of my head? What is the environment in my space? How is it that I can, you know, very quickly change that? Because in an instant, we know if we hesitate or we procrastinate, we can go down a path that doesn't support our vision for what we're here to do. So when you have these kind of habits in place, it actually then seeds that there is like a belief that grows, there's hope that grows, there is energy that keeps their dreams alive. And these are the same dreams that are, you know, our listeners can have as well. And so because you guys are such cultivators and creators and manifestors, one of the questions I love asking my guests is because you're intentional about our space, the space that we live in, you know, we act differently in our bedroom versus our kitchen or our office. So what is your favorite room in your home and why?
My home is my favorite place to be, period. My home is phenomenal at this point in my life. I live in the most amazing place. But because of that, I would say that my favorite place to be is to wake up in my bedroom, and I'm very meticulous as I wake up. I have something that I say to myself every day, first thing in the morning and last thing at night. And so I'm structuring my mindset right away. But every day when I wake up, I before I open my eyes, I say thank you, and I love you. And as a result, my bedroom is my favorite place in my house because it starts my day. And everything that happens in my day is set there. Like my intentions are set there, my actions are set there. I take our calls there at 6:45 after meditation. I exercise in there. It's like it has really shaped my life now because I go out in the world from that place.
I love it. So good. What about you, Rose? What's your favorite room?
I think my room is my own sanctuary. You kind of decorate it the way you feel. I remember when I got out of a bad relationship and I literally got rid of everything black in my furniture. So my room now is like this airy white, pure pink princess, like everything I don't like type room. And it makes me feel like I'm the princess I wish I grew up I was, but I am, you know, and it's cool. I have my own queendom in my sanctuary. But I also really like our office space, to be honest with you, because we have a very open, airy space. I love having windows and being able to see out and have a vision while I'm creating. I think that's very important.
Nice. I love it so much. So what do you think that women should know about the future of women in finance?
Oh, Dominique.
Okay. This actually makes me so excited.
It's our favorite question.
It's just so one of the things that Rose and I did immediately upon going into business together was we and a third partner, Sharon Griffin, who is one of my favorite people on the planet, started an LLC called the Women Entrepreneur Summit. And I think that actually our concept there is exactly the way that women in finance are going. We come together, we support each other, we provide resources, we teach. Finance has always seemed such a daunting thing to everybody, I think, and women especially, because I grew up in a household where the conversation of money was not had. It just simply wasn't had. Somehow bills got paid, there was a little bit of angst, and there was no real sense of like, this is our purpose, this is what we're doing. I don't know how I came out of that being as sort of structured with finances as I am, but I don't ever want anybody to feel that they don't have a place to go to learn. And so I think that women in general are multitasking, caring beings. And as a result, women in finance will be able to bring that. And it's literally a wide open field right now in one of the highest paying industries in the world. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am that this is my third career and that I get to help people. It's back to that for me. I want to help people.
Well, I love that. And, speaking of helping people, I know that you guys have a free gift for our audience, and you guys have referred to about the fin. So if you can maybe explain what that is and why our listeners need to find out what theirs is.
Yeah, definitely. So the FIN number is your financial independence number. Everybody knows their social, everybody knows their telephone number, but most people don't know exactly how much money they need to be financially independent. We don't think retirement is an age. We think it's an amount of money saved over a long period of time that you can distribute that will last forever and not run out. And also keep up with that dirty little word, inflation. So we give complimentary financial needs analysis where we find your FIN number based on what your lifestyle is. And we don't want you to cut back in retirement. We want to help you get to your best life in retirement. It was funny you had asked a little bit about our platform. I had wrote this down about our company. I said, our company is the entrepreneur platform for stability income to create the global businesses of our dreams. I think our Women Entrepreneur Summit really focuses on, finance as being something for women to tap into, to learn about, to maybe be a part of. Just with the research showing how well we've done last year, I think there's a dramatic need for women advisors, and it's a wave for anybody that is interested in learning about that. But I do think that we've almost found our ultimate career. We're teachers, we're legacy builders, we're savers. We want to know what's going on. We want to help our next generations. We want to build and be our own boss, choose our own schedule, and feel like we're making a difference. So it'd be an honor to sit with anyone that wants us to look at their portfolio, especially if they've never established one. Especially if you have kids. It would be an honor to help your kids not have to pay the things that I'm now thinking about for my parents. And it'd be an honor to be that for anybody.
Ah, perfect. Well, thank you so much. And this is such an important number to have. A lot of people don't think about what that number is. And I love how you distinguish between retirement's not an age, right? It's about, what is that for you? And that, this is your time to dream big and not to, try and shrink down what your experience is and what is available to you. So I just want to thank you guys both for your wisdom and for everything that you bring to the table. It's such an important conversation to have that not many people are having, particularly for women. So I just want to thank you so much for being here, and that we will going to have all the links in the show notes so people will be able to connect with you. They'll be able to see how to get their FIN and be able to find out what that financial number is for them and start having that conversation. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. And to our audience, I also have a free gift that will be in the show notes, the resetyourpowergift.com. You can go to that because we want to make sure, what are the things that you're doing? What are the habits, the conversations we're talking about that you have in place that allow you to create the foundation to do your bigger dreams and to stand in your power? We are so appreciative of your time, which is your greatest resource, to be here with us. Please feel free, whatever platform that you're on, to put in the comments any questions that you may have. Make sure that you tag both myself and Dominique and Rose, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have and to reach out to you. And this is just starting the machine of women helping women and being part of the conversation. And you do that by sharing, writing in the comments, anything that you can do to support and get the word out on this. Help support women. So we want to thank you so much for being here. And until we connect again, live your spa life. Bye for now. See you.